بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. This will be a translation and a slight explanation of the surah. This is the second surah of the 30th juz of the Quran Kareem. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala has been very kind that He has given us the opportunity in different masajid over the last perhaps 2 years or 2.5 to do a surah in every program. And in Allah's kindness we have now reached like the 30th juz. This is the beginning of the 30th juz. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala make it, this masjid has also become part of this khatam. Many masajid have become. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala let the barakat of this khatam come into me, come into you, come into the world. Ameen. This is the message of Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. The right of the Quran is every person supposed to know the language himself. Because your letter, which has come to you from your beloved, if a person comes and gives it to me and says, read this thing, it doesn't look right. And then when I try to explain it to you also, language or love can only be understood in the same language. If you have an inside person trying to give the message, it never comes out the same. Quran is miraculous that Allah Tabarak Ta'ala through Quran speaks to every single individual on a one-to-one basis. The person who's reading it, if he understands the language, the meaning that he will get the lesson, he will get, the one next to him won't get that lesson. What one will be searching for, the other one won't. One will come out and he'll say, I got my guidance. And you ask him like, where you got it? He'll say, in this verse. But another person will read that verse and he will say, but like for me there's nothing much there. For the scientist there's a different verse. For the one studying geography there's a different. For the one who lost a father there's a verse. For the one who lost a child there's a verse. For the one whose business is going up, he's been spoken to. The one whose business is coming down, he's been spoken to. The one who won in battle, he was spoken. The one who lost in battle, he was given a message. And every individual as he reads it, he says, no, this verse was revealed for me only. This is Quran. It is so simple for the one who knows a little. It is so deep for the one who thinks he knows lots. The man who says, I'm reaching the stars, he opened Quran and he was surprised. He saw stars after that. And the one who went diving deep in the waters, at a time where the world never knew what diving was, and then it started with the different machines and tanks, and according to the different tanks and the capacity of oxygen it can hold, then how far man started going into the waters. If anyone went diving, he will understand. This is not like swimming. This you will have to know where to go and how fast to go. There will be laws for going deeper in the water than there's a law for coming out. There is so much pressure deep inside. And then there is the issue about where light reaches and where light doesn't reach. So you're swimming just a little bit at the bottom, you can still see some light on the top. But as you will go deeper, 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 then when everything becomes dark, that person says, even if I put my hand in front of me, I won't see it. Now you need that very strong flashlight. So when that world started and people made that dive, and when that individual went, and when he came out and he looked at a verse of Quran or someone read to him, where Allah Tabarak Ta'ala said, that as for the person who is in a certain state of disbelief, his example is just like the example of the darkness that is deep in the water. ظُلُمَاتٌ بَعْدُهَا فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ. Barriers, layers and layers of darkness. إِذَا أَخْرَجَ يَدَهُ لَمْ يَكَدْ يَرَاهَا. That even if he puts his hand in front of him, he can't see his hand. This was describing what the disbeliever is. That even something so simple, his own hand put in front of him, he can't see it, but
إِذَا أَخْرَجَ يَدَهُ لَمْ يَكَدْ يَرَاهَا وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا. For the one who Allah did not give light, there will be no light at all for him. That verse was regarding the disbeliever. But the man who went diving into the waters, he said there is no way 1,000 years ago someone could have known how dark it is deep in the water. He said, I'm reading the kalima. Where the verse was referring to, where he got his guidance, that was for me, that verse. That was for the diver. At the same time, this verse gave this message. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا. When you are in so many levels of darkness, and that hand that is put in front, right in front, that is why what is called in today's time the era of, they call it progress, and they call it technology, and they call it advancement. But it is such an era of darkness that the time has come where if the child in the school has to ask the teacher who is trying to teach a theory that doesn't make sense at all, that has no light at all, then the teacher is so much in darkness that besides forget giving the answer, the teacher can't understand the question also. They have gone so far in being upside down that the teacher will try to explain why is there no problem between a boy marrying a boy and a girl marrying a girl. And no matter how much the teacher will try, if that small child has to ask the teacher, then teacher, why didn't you get married to another girl? Then the teacher will be jumped. Why didn't you? The answer is so far that the question also is, don't ask stupid questions. And like that it will be cut. So much they have gone into darkness. What we will read today is beautiful. Because Quran has spoken of the past in a manner that was so simple, but answered every question. The world of what they call technology also went in the past. But in which past they went to, we don't understand. They were supposed to go to Adam alayhi salam and ask him, where did you come from? And Adam alayhi salam would have given the answer, I came from above Allah, and we all going back home very soon. I came from Allah, and we all going back. Adam alayhi salam would have given the answer, I came and your mother Hawa came. We landed on earth, we were ordered by Almighty Allah that we are going to be the fathers of humanity. Children were made from Nabi Adam alayhi salam. Everything was explained in detail. The first nikah was explained. The first jealousy was explained. Hawa radiallahu anha would give birth to two. It would be one girl, one boy. The second, one girl, one boy. The girl from one side would marry the boy from the other side. At that time it was allowed that they would not be called now sisters and brothers. You would be called one pair, one pair. A world started, people moved about. Then came the era of Nuh alayhi salam. Huge floods came. Majority of whoever was alive at that time went away in the floods. The people of Iman were safe. They were on the boat. Nuh alayhi salam reached his destination safely. They boarded. After boarding, Nuh alayhi salam had 3 sons. Ham, Sam, Yafith, 3 sons. 4th son he had passed, he had died in the waters. He refused to come onto the boat. 3 sons. From 3 sons, everyone else who was on the boat, Almighty Allah was not going to let them, progeny, move from them. So they would remain alive, but they were not going to get children. From these 3 children of Nuh alayhi salam, then again, so he was called the second Adam. And then the world began spreading. In detail, everything can be mentioned. In the world of advancement, however, they decided to go. They went past Adam alayhi salam. How they Muslim, we can't understand. They went past him. And so far they went that whenever we ask them like where you are, They got such numbers, like they always like that 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So when you ask them where's the sun, they just like to say million, billion, trillion light years, because they know no one's going to count. And when you ask them where you come from, they go back million, billion, trillion years. So far. Quran was so unique, it said very close. Adam alayhi salam was not very far away. You don't have to go very far back to know where you came. But unique is Quran. It also leaves a question that what difference does it really make to you? How you came. What's more important to you is how you're going to go. So that's what this surah is going to be. What's more important to you is how you are going to go. An-Naazi'aat gharqa. This first few verses is the crux of the surah. But in such a manner, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala mentioned how death can take place, that even if you don't know the language, as I will translate it, you will feel it in the words. You will feel it in the words. It will encompass this entire thing about what we call, I'm scared to die. The surah will explain, forget being scared to die, you have to die. The question is, how are you going to die? Allah Tabarak Ta'ala starts, An-Naazi'aat gharqa. Because you can hear that hard letters, An-Naazi, Zal, Ain, An-Naazi'aat, Ghain, Ghar, Qaf, Qaf, hard letters. And the next one will be An-Naashitat nashta. Those will be soft letters. Already in that you can understand one person is having a hard time and the other one is going to be enjoying. An-Naazi'aat gharqa. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, by the oath of those angels who are going to come to the soul who doesn't want to come out. By the oath of those angels who are going to be grabbing and pulling. That is called Naza'. Naza' means you grab someone who doesn't want to come. You pull him and sometimes his bone dislocates. He says, I don't want to come, and he's dragged. An-Naazi'aat gharqa. By the oath of those angels who will be pulling out that soul that does not want to come. There will be those unfortunate individuals. And beautiful is Quran. Even if a person does not memorize the entire Quran, but he holds on to few verses. He holds on to few. These few verses is unique, can change a man's life. Haram comes in front of us. Exams come in front of us. Tests comes in front. A man says, give me some words that I can manage this exam. Every day that girl is passing me. Every day my inside is saying, why don't I just message her? Every day I'm getting caught. Why don't I look at the internet on filthy pictures? Say, give me something to do, something to think about. So here's something to think about. An-Naazi'aat gharqa. By the oath of those angels, when they will sit in front and they will be pulling that soul. And that soul will say, I don't want to come out. That soul will grab onto every part of the body. It will go into the nails. It will grab onto. So you have someone who's holding onto one. And you have others trying to pull that individual. You understand at the end, Allah's Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said at the ending, it is like how a sack is being pulled and it is caught up in all the thorns of a thorn bush. And now because it's caught up everywhere, and you need someone to take it out. So if you call a woman, she'll start slowly from one part, pulling out. Woman got a lot of time. You call the man, he's not bothered about the sack, he'll just pull. One pull. And as he pulls, there'll be no sack left. There'll be no bush, there'll be no sack. There will be those bodies when the angels will have to pull. There will be some angels banging with hammers to tell the soul, leave. And as this part is getting banged, and then it is pulling, and then it is grabbing, and then it is being pulled, when that soul comes out, that soul has already gone through Jahannam. And nothing has even started. This is An-Naazi'aat gharqa. By the oath of those angels that are going to be pulling very hard. An-Naashiqat nashta. And then Allah Ta'ala says, and by the oath of those angels, nashtun. That word nashtun, you can see how it sounds. Nashtun means when something is closed, but it wants to come out. Example, the kettle is boiling. Something is happening inside and there's only that small string at the top. And then you tell someone, why don't you just untie it? This is called nasht. That you just untie. And as you untie, that bird that was inside wanted to fly. There's no talk about come out. It is just open the string. And by the oath of those angels who will just open the string. May Allah Ta'ala give me and you such a gift. That we have a bird within us. In the world of dreams, whenever someone saw that there was a bird coming out from the earth, and it was flying to the sky, or there was a bird coming out from the chest and it was going up, and they would ask someone, what is this? He said, this is a sign of death. The soul is like that bird, but that bird which is desirous of going back home. You caught it, you put it in a cage, but this bird has not been created for a cage. A poet in Arabic said most beautifully, he said, I am the bird, a fire. He said, Al-habsu laysa madhhabi. Being in a cage, that's not my tariqah. That's not my way. Whether you like it or not, this world is nothing but a cage. Then immediately he said, وَإِن كَانَ مِن ذَهَبِ. Even if the cage is of gold. Sometimes you buy that golden cage for your bird, and you put couple of toys inside and make tinkle, tinkle. But that bird, if it has seen what's on the outside, it will say, Al-habsu laysa madhhabi. Being in the cage is not mine. وَإِن كَانَ مِن ذَهَبِ. Even if it's of gold, this is not mine. It said, غَابَاتُ رَبِّي. The many jungles of the world of my Allah, that's where I want to go. غَابَاتُ رَبِّي. The jungles of the world of my Allah. The soul has also once upon a time experienced that by Almighty Allah there are worlds and worlds and worlds, where the soul is around to fly around, where the soul will be given its own body, where the soul will be told, enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. If the soul has to be made like a bird which is made to forget its past, then that bird will remain in the cage, and it will think that living in the cage is what I want. That even if someday someone opens the door of that cage, the lock opens, that bird remains sitting in. And the birds on the outside says, do you not want to come out? He says, I want to stay in. I want to stay. That soul that wants to stay in a cage, a day will come when angels will have to pull it out of the cage. It will open its wings to say, I don't want to come. One wing will break, another wing will break, leg will break. It said, this cage has not been kept for anyone. You have to come out. And there will be another bird that is just waiting. It says, being in a golden cage means nothing to me. Outside the cage is the forests and forests of my Allah, where I can fly around as I wish. I can enjoy as I wish. I am not caught in somebody else's hand. There will be no exams after this. There will be no tests after this. It will be experiencing what I can never imagine. This is called An-Naazi'aat nashta. By the oath of those angels, the angel of death, Malakul Maut, will come. If he comes himself, and he comes, Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw the angel of death. If the angel of death wants to appear in a scary form, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam fell unconscious when he saw the form of the angel of death. He said, as you appear in front of a disbeliever, And the angel of death showed a form, Ibrahim alayhi salam. What was the heart of Ibrahim alayhi salam? He saw Namrud and his heart never turned. He saw a huge fire that they could not even go close to. His heart never shook. Ibrahim alayhi salam saw in a dream, you'll have to slaughter your son. He woke up, there was no perspiration on his body. He went up to his son and he said, oh my son, I saw in a dream, I am slaughtering you. His heart never shook. The son's heart never shook. He said, oh my father, do what you have to do. This was not a normal man's heart. Ibrahim alayhi salam said to the angel of death, show me that form with which you come to a disbeliever. The angel of death showed a form, Ibrahim alayhi salam fell unconscious. But then there's a form that the angel of death comes to a believer. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala let us live as believers. Amen. And good believers. It's a few days till death. Few days. We want that bird who wants to come out of the cage. We want the angel to just say, open the knot. No one wants to be pulled out. No one wants to be broken. No one wants to be ripped into pieces even before it starts. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to the angel of death, will you be kind with my ummah? Will you be kind? The angel of death said, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala has ordered me to be kind with the ummah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The angel of death comes to sit. And then so many other angels come. Comes in the ahadith, as far as the eye can see, there's angels. They're all waiting. And then the angel of death comes with a message from Almighty Allah. That message. We'll never understand that message. But if a boy is getting married, then normally there's that in-between auntie. She's she phones this side, that side. So then she'll get both. She'll get the tea here, she'll get the tea there also. Everyone will. She's the main auntie until the problem starts. Then she won't answer the phone. But until then, now she's that in-between. Now you will carry on looking at your phone, waiting for aunties call. Every day you look, no message. Because she'll be able to tell you that side said. Soon as you see that message now, then you start already reading kalima. Whatever dua you knew, even if it's wrong dua, the person just starts. I hope the right answer comes. When that angel of death comes, he also comes with a message. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainnah, irji'i ila rabbik. Isn't it time to come back to your Allah? Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, not only that message is given, the message is given, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. Those that said the kalima, and then they remained on this kalima, تَتَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. How many angels comes with messages? أَلَّا تَخَافُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ. Why worry? Why grief? Glad tidings for you. We have come from paradise. That's yours. وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُكُمْ. Don't think you're going to be alone. In this world we were always with you. You never saw us. Now you're going to see us. In the world of the grave, man is not going to be alone. Many of us think that because we went to Lakhtanba Qabristan. I went there today. I got scared. There's no one around. You think the person outside will kill you there also. Say no need for you getting a hearse. They'll kill you right there. So we go there, we see Qabristan, we say, I wonder at night, don't these people feel scared? Don't these people, they are the most safest people in the world because the robber is also scared of them. They got nothing to worry about. So we look at that day and we think, how scary is the world of the grave? That's not the world of the grave, that's earth. Where we bury them is earth. And then there's another world called Jannah. Between these two worlds, there's an in-between world called Barzakh. This is where the soul flies to. وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. They just open, and that bird is flying. Allah's Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, the angel of death takes that soul. And as soon as he takes it, he puts it into the hands of other angels. How many of them have come? Just for one soul. How many of them have come? وَالسَّابِحَاتِ سَبْحًا. By the oath of those angels that now start flying in the sky. The word sabaha is used to swim. One is how me and you will swim, that we hit more than we move. More water comes out instead of the man moving in. One is someone who knows how to swim. They move like a fish. And how fast they can move, as those angels are moving to the heavens. Why are they moving? And why are they like swimming fast? وَالسَّابِحَاتِ سَبْحًا. By the oath of those angels that are swimming in the air. They all got the soul. Why are they rushing? Normally when a child has gone somewhere, and you know that his father is deeply desirous of seeing him, then you get a thrill if you're very close to the father to say, come quickly, your father wants to meet you. When a believing soul is taken out, the angels that come to receive it, every one of them understands the quicker they can take that soul to receive the salam of Allah is because Allah is desirous of making salam to that soul. How they go swimming with that soul? How they go swimming? وَالسَّابِحَاتِ سَبْحًا فَالسَّابِقَاتِ سَبْقًا. By the oath of the angels who are racing with each other. One coming behind the other, he's beating him, he takes the soul. Let me go further, let me go faster. Allah's Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, then they pass other angels. A smell is coming out of the soul. The angels ask, what a wonderful smell this is. Who is this? Then they will say, they'll give his name. They'll give his father's name. Beautiful names. The other angels will say, what a wonderful smell. And that move is still taking place. The race is carrying on with what? With the soul of a believer. May Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala bless us. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا. And then by the oath of those angels, who are all waiting now to fulfill the command of Almighty Allah with regards to the soul. Now it reaches a point, and Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala says, my servant has been truthful. The first chance that this soul, from the time when it was once upon a time in the world called the world of arwah, alamul arwah, it was in that world where every soul was given its own body. It was taken out from the back of Nabi Adam alayhi salam. They were all like small ants perhaps. Everyone was given a body. Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala showed His beauty. Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala spoke, Alastu bi Rabbikum. Every soul had the enjoyment of hearing Almighty Allah. Alastu bi Rabbikum, am I not yours? Every soul replied, Bala. That Allah, who else but you? Who else? The second time the soul will now hear Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala directly is on this occasion. This is even before the questioning of the grave. Even before. My servant has been successful. Now take him to Barzakh. The question is, normally you have the exam first and then your results. Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala in His kindness gives the results and then says, go for your exam. That soul already knows, I got the answers. I got the answers. What kindness. Yes, it's another thing on the day of Qiyamah when it starts. That's another world after that. On that day, whatever enjoyment happened in this barzakh world, just like how when we in the womb of the mother and you kicking around. But when the child comes in this world and you ask the child, how was the womb? You say, what womb are you talking about? So you were there 9 months, how you forgot? At least 7 months, 6 months, 5 months you're supposed to know. Your soul came in you, after that you were there 5 months. The soul says, I don't know nothing what you're talking. We came in this world, we enjoyed lot. The best of the best or the hardest of the hardest. Allah's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, a man will be brought on that day and the angel will say to him, بِأَنْعَمِ أَهْلِ الدُّنْيَا. He said, we heard that you were the one who had the best of this world. And that individual will say, by Allah, I cannot remember one day of enjoyment. What enjoyment? When worlds change, when you'll get a snuff of Jahannam, everything will be forgotten. That is why the law is, search for that enjoyment which will ever remain. Don't die for enjoyment which is forgotten yesterday. We played a lot when we were young. Ask the person, you remember any? And we got hurt a lot when we were young. But ask him, when you fell from the bicycle and it was burning, you remember? Whatever is of the past gets forgotten very fast. We're searching for a world which never ends, which pleasures never come to an end, because enjoyments of this world is forgotten very fast. When man will stand on the plains of Qiyamah, again he will now forget the enjoyments of Barzakh. But let's leave that for a while. Now we're in Barzakh. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا. The angels are waiting for the command. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, take my slave now back. Take him now to his resting abode. That's not earth. He is now put in Barzakh. In Barzakh, the first thing that has to happen is he needs rest. Just like a child which comes from the mother is given immediately a cradle. Rest. As soon as we leave this world, we also given a bed. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, and spread for him a bed from the beds of paradise. That's the first bed that you will ever get. And open for him a window into paradise. And allow him to get the fresh air of paradise. And give him the clothing of paradise. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا. By the oath of those angels which are all just waiting for the command of Allah. And now the bed is being brought. Now the clothing is being brought. Now a companion is coming in your grave. And you ask, what a beautiful, handsome person. Who are you? He said, I am Quran. You never left me in the world. You think I'm going to leave you today? I'll be your companion. Then you will see Salah. You will see Zakat. You will see Hajj. They will say, we're all here to make sure you're in comfort. Are you okay? Finally, when they're all comfortable that he is in comfort, he will be told, why don't you rest a little? He will go now for his first rest. But he's not going to sleep forever and ever. A lot of things have to happen in this world by the oath of those angels who are all waiting for the command of Allah. Take him into paradise, they'll take him into paradise. Allow him to see the arsh of Allah, they'll take him to the arsh. Allow him to taste from the waters, they'll take him to the waters. Allow a bite from the fruits, they'll take him. There's a lot of things happening. But beautiful is this word. Allah Ta'ala in one verse spoke about if it's bad, it's terrible. An-Naazi'aat gharqa. By the oath of those angels that can snatch. And in 4 others, Allah Ta'ala spoke of the good ones. An-Naashi'aat nashta. By the oath of the angels which open up. And then they are flying. And then they are racing with each other. And then everyone is waiting. Allah, what must I do for your slave? Man has to say, now which death do I want? Not that I don't want to die. That doesn't work, that answer. That's what me and you normally are saying. I don't want to die. The surah has said, don't ask. That's not a question we're giving. Our question is, how do you want to die? Do you want your bird to fly? Or do you want your bird to be ripped into pieces? يَوْمَ تَرْجُفُ الرَّاجِفَةِ. Now that is the world of Barzakh. But how quick, how Allah condensed that whole thing. This is called now the in-between world. And now Allah Ta'ala will take us onto what is called the next. What we call Qiyamah and after. يَوْمَ تَرْجُفُ الرَّاجِفَةِ تَتْبَعُهَا الرَّادِفَةِ. There will be that day. Rajifa means rajaf, something that makes other things shake. The bugle, what the angel who is ordered to blow the trumpet, that trumpet is called Rajifa. Rajifa means it will make the whole world shake. It will make the mountains start moving. It will bring buildings down. But beautiful, Allah Ta'ala says, on the day when even the trumpet will shake. On the day when that which is making everything shake, it will also be shaking. يَوْمَ تَرْجُفُ الرَّاجِفَةِ means when the angel will blow on it. Forget the whole world shaking. Even it will be shaking. And then everything will be quiet. Every movement will be gone. Every soul also that's already in that world, either enjoying or being punished, that soul will also go into what is called death. Another death. Everything will be unconscious. Everything will be quiet. And then for a period of 40 years, when we say 40 years, we're not speaking of our 40. 40 in the knowledge of Almighty Allah. Where there will be nothing. Nothing. There will be no Jibreel alayhi salam. No Mikail alayhi salam. In some narrations it is mentioned, it will only be the angel of death. And Almighty Allah will say to it, that is there anything that has life? And the angel of death will say no. And Almighty Allah will say to the angel, and you die. And even the angel, then there will be that period of the independence of the Zat, the being of Almighty Allah. To show that Allah does not need anyone. Allah does not need anyone. It will be a time where there will be absolute silence. Not an angel, not a sound. And how long that period will be, تَتْبَعُهَا الرَّادِفَةِ. And then that will be followed by the thing coming after. Beautiful Quran is. The thing coming after will be, the angel of the trumpet will be told, stand. And he will just stand. And then he will be told, blow. And when he will make that second blow, first one caused everything to die, to go into a state of absolute silence. Second one will cause everything to come up again. Second. Waters will come from the sky. The bodies which are now buried in what our earth is called, Lichtenberg, Azadwal, Heidelberg, Johannesburg, these bodies which are dead practically, but there's one piece that always remains, never eaten. One piece. Around that piece, that whole body will start coming up again. And as that body starts coming from the graves, graves will be opening. Bodies will be standing, bodies. Everyone will start running. Soul will be returned to its old body. However Allah Tabarakala wants. How that body will look at that time, everything in the knowledge of Allah. قُلُوبٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَاجِفَةٌ. On that day, hearts will be trembling. أَبْصَارُهَا خَاشِعَةٌ. Eyes will be stuck to the ground. Hearts will be trembling in fear. Eyes will be to the ground in disgrace. How will I face my Allah today? On that day, the true value of Iman will be understood. Where a man will say, at least I came with Iman. At least I came. Normally when we hear that there is no gift like the gift of Iman, we just say GG like. On that day it's not going to be a GG. Even if the exam is the worst and the hardest of exams, but at least a believer knows that finally my Iman is going to pull me out. As for the disbeliever, he can't even look up. He can't look up. يَقُولُونَ أَإِنَّا لَمَرْدُودُونَ فِي الْحَافِرَةِ. At that time people will start saying, are we being returned to our first condition? Meaning we're getting a body again. أَإِذَا كُنَّا عِظَامًا نَخِرًا. We were bones for so long. Now that entire barzakh is forgotten. As though it never happened. Now man is thinking back about the first. That scene of Qiyamah will be so terrible that entire barzakh, man could have been in the world of the grave for 1,000, 5,000, 9,000 years. Historians have written from Nabi Adam alayhi salam till today about 7,000, 6.5, 7,000 years. Let's say someone passed away at that time. He enjoyed or he was punished for 7,000 years in that world. He will just stand on that day because of the blow. Either it will be the first blow of the trumpet or the second, it will make him forget that entire episode. He won't know what happened in it. He will just say, am I getting a body again? إِذَا كُنَّا عِظَامًا نَخِرًا. After we were bones, And then one will say to the other, تِلْكَ إِذًا كَرَّةٌ خَاسِرَةٌ. This is indeed going to be a most terrible return, because he will know what he had done. This is going to be a most terrible return, because the man knows, I failed. فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ زَجْرَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, now it's going to be one push. You might wonder, what's this one push? Think about the entire world, from Nabi Adam alayhi salam till the last person, how many millions, billions. Think about any rally that takes place at the moment now in Pakistan. There's one big rally taking place. So they told the police, make sure they don't come. So the police put up some, I don't know what they tried to put up. When you have a storm of people coming, you can try what you want to. South Africa saw it during the riots. When you have a group of people coming, when I went to Durban, at that time after the riots, like I asked them, like, what you learned in this? So one person said, I learned what Yajuj Majuj means. Yajuj Majuj. I said, this is nothing Yajuj Majuj. That will be even worse. When that entire flood will be coming, you can call the armies also. Now the question is, on that day, when the whole world is there, and you're going to tell the world, we need you to line up. How you get them to line up? Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, it will just be one push. Look at the authority of Almighty Allah. One push. فَإِذَا هُمْ بِالسَّاهِرَةِ. And you will find every one of them moving to the open plain. No one will be chaotic. There will be no chaos. There will be no pushing this way and that way. The angel will say, stay in a line, and everyone will be in a line. No one will be jumping this way. Where are you going to go? What authority? What power? Allah Tabarak Ta'ala, one push. That one push will be, the angel will say, you're being called. And everyone will start moving. Whole world, entire humanity. فَإِذَا هُمْ بِالسَّاهِرَةِ. What will be the day? On that day, do you think anyone can do anything? So you would wonder, what about the strong people on that day? I mean, he had his armies. He had in this world 20,000, 30,000. President of Pakistan said, I'll call 1 million. So on that day, there might be one president say, I'll call 1 billion. Now you have angels running to put them in place. The question will come, like, can't he make his announcement? Where's the king at that time? Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, هَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى. Don't you know what happened with Musa alayhi salam? إِذْ نَادَاهُ رَبُّهُ. His Allah called him in a certain valley. He was given his nubuwah. He was told, اذهب إلى فرعون. Firaun was that mighty king. In front of Firaun there were thousands. We don't know how many they are, but go see those pyramids. To build that pyramids up till today, they can't understand who moved those rocks. They had slaves pulling those rocks. And they had soldiers whooping those slaves. And they had one Firaun with an entire Egypt under his command. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala said, we told Musa alayhi salam, go to that Firaun and say to him, هَلْ لَكَ إِلَىٰ أَن تَزَكَّى. Don't you want to change? وَأَهْدِيَكَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ. I am ready to show you the road to Allah. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. And he showed him major signs of Allah. He showed him miracles, but when a man is stubborn, فَكَذَّبَ وَعَصَى. He was not ready to listen. ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ يَسْعَى. He turned his back. فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى. He went and he called all his people. He said, bring the magicians to me, I'll defeat this Musa. He said, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. I am the mightiest. He said, have you forgotten Firaun? فَأَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ نَكَالَ الْآخِرَةِ وَالْأُولَى. He says, but when Allah grabbed him, perhaps today if you visit Egypt, you might have to pay a few dollars extra. And they might tell you, you want to see the pharaohs of the past. And you can go into an air-conditioned room and you will see There's different pharaohs, and they don't even know which one is really this Pharaoh of Quran. But every pharaoh that is there, he don't look smart, number one. He don't look smart. But his skeleton is showing you that I also thought I'm a boss. And when Allah grabbed me, Allah says, we grabbed him. Nakal al-akhirati wal-ula. We made him a sign for the people who will come after. We made him a sign for the people at the beginning. What a unique verse this is. We made him as a sign for the people who will come after. There was years and years that passed after this verse was revealed. And another verse of Pharaoh was revealed, where the body of this Pharaoh of Musa alayhi salam was not known in the world. But Quran said we left it as a sign for al-akhirah. The ones who will come after, we left it as a sign for them. When the body of the pharaohs were opened up, in our recent last 100 years perhaps it was, and then they opened up these museums, it was around the exact time when Israel was being established. That's when this pharaoh's body also was brought. Millions were spent in it. They were so thrilled about it. We got the body of the pharaoh. At that time certain scholars said, Wah to the miracle of Quran. Wah to the miracle of Quran. Where Allah Tabarak Ta'ala, when taking the soul of Pharaoh, said, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. He drowned. Pharaoh drowned in waters which were supposed to push him right to the bottom. Historians differ where he drowned. One of the views is, how you will explain it? You have Egypt on one side and you have the land of Arabia on the other. I'm not so sure what place comes there, maybe Sham al-Sheikh. A little higher than that you have Aqaba. Aqaba is like the top, the Gulf of Aqaba. Just a little down from the Gulf of Aqaba. On one side, today when you are going, now if you go for Umrah, you'll see something called Neom. Neom, the city of the future. Neom. So where they building Neom around that side. Musa alayhi salatu wassalam from this side is trying to go over to that side. He makes a mistake and Allah Tabarak Ta'ala made the mistake. He was supposed to go slightly up and past the Gulf. But Allah Tabarak Ta'ala made him make one turn and now he got stuck. Just lower than the Gulf. So now there's waters in front of you. It's an ocean. It is not very huge because you at that already top. But you are in the ocean. And then the waters are made to stand. And then the Bani Israel is told to walk on the what is called sand of the ocean. Depends how many meters they had to go down, whether it's 10 meters, whether it's 15 meters, who knows how deep they went. But then Pharaoh also came. And then Pharaoh was going to die when he was in the center. Center is you right at the bottom. At that time the waters were told close. When those waters closed, the chance of Pharaoh's body coming to the top was zero. No other soldier came up. Their chariots never came up. Their horses never came up. As those waters closed on them, they were left at the bottom of the waters. There was going to be nothing to bring them up. The body of Pharaoh, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ. Today we're going to bring your body up. فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ. Today we are going to save you with your body. لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. So that you can be for the ones coming later on a sign. That scholars said, wah to this verse of Quran. That they found the body. That body came up. After it came up, the Bani Israel, they were the first. They said to Musa alayhi salam, that we don't know if Pharaoh was killed. Because the waters are at the command of him also. And then the body came up. And they saw the dead body. All of them went shocked. Then Musa alayhi salam, most likely it was him who had this body delivered to Egypt. Because he and the Bani Israel were not going to go to Egypt now. They were now going to go to the promised lands. But a group of people were told, take this body back to the lands. So those who believed in the God Pharaoh in that lands, They must see their God today. Take it back. Then it went. When it reached there, we don't know what happened to it after that. They would have taken it. They would have said, our beloved Pharaoh, God, whatever. And then they would say, you were such a powerful God once upon a time. Let us put makeup for you. So they made him a mummy. That's that mummy. That mummy itself was a message to say, who said he is God can't even dress himself. So they closed him up. They took out his body parts. They put it in that bottles. And then they were going to bury him wherever they buried him. They made a nice house for him. They put him in. He was already getting punished. Already getting punished. Allah Ta'ala said, "Ughriqu." For people who are drowned with disbelief, drowned, said drown and go straight in the fire. Beautiful. Drown in water, go straight in the fire. Drown in water and go straight in the fire. Pharaoh was that. But that body was going to be kept. So the people of his era saw it. They all went to quiet. But Allah Ta'ala said, لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. We want you to be for those coming afterwards a lesson. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ. And then Allah Ta'ala said, and majority of people from our signs, they are completely negligent. That body was brought in Egypt. It was put in a museum. People paid big amounts of money, and as they saw it, they said, wow, wow means the mighty Pharaoh, nothing mighty about him at all. Allah Ta'ala said, how we grabbed him? فَأَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ. Now that Pharaoh, if he's there in that air-conditioned room, even if it's getting very cold, he can't tell the one worker, can you make it a little bit hot? He can't. One sound. Where he can't make one sound here, on the plains of Qiyamah, it's going to be that same Pharaoh. He will also be quiet. Mighty kings will be quiet. Everyone will be just walking. On that day, there is no kingship but the kingship of Almighty. One push. Everyone in an open area. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَعِبْرَةً لِمَنْ يَخْشَى. Allah says, indeed, in this there's more than enough lesson for the one who fears. More than enough lesson. That you can be the mightiest of the mighty. You can be the boss. You can say, my wife, I just put my eye open and she goes running. On that day, your eye is not going to open, it's going to be down. The one who was humble in this world will be high in that world. The one who was rough in this world will be knocked in that world. That world is coming. Allah Ta'ala then speaks about what we're seeing around us. He said, I have made all of this for you in this world. Not so that you think you the boss. I made it for you so that you could appreciate who's giving it to you. Unique this is. Many of us, when the world came, we started thinking, I'm the boss. And then we began acting like the boss. Allah Ta'ala says, you did anything or we did it. أَأَنْتُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا. Are you more stronger in power and might? أَمِ السَّمَاءِ. Or is it the skies? Are you more stronger? Are you more mightier? Or is it the skies? You only got two small shoulders. You say, you know how much of responsibility I'm holding? And the sky, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam heard a sound. He said to Sahaba radiallahu anh, did you hear it? Attatis sama. Sahaba radiallahu anh were given that chance. They heard like a creak. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, today the sky has given a sound. وَحُقَّ لَهَا أَن تَئِتَّ. He says, why should it not have given that sound today? He said, there is not a place in that heavens except at the moment there's an angel with its head in sajda. On the weight of all of that, that sky finally made a slight. Me and you think I'm holding up heavy. Allah Ta'ala says, do you think you more? Or is it that skies? And then who made the skies? رَفَعَ سَمْكَهَا. How he put it high. How high? How high? Today the world speaks in science. I don't know what they teach in science. Yesterday they were teaching we reached the moon. Today they're saying we're trying to reach Mars. According to whoever knows about that, Mars comes in a level much lower than the moon. So yesterday they went past Mars. They reached the moon. Today they're saying we're going to get to Mars soon. Few years ago they said we have already understood there's certain layers of heat. And as you come to this place here, this layer, then it melts. Material, it melts it. So the question was asked, but if it melts it, then how did they manage to go past that? Because the iron of today or the steel of today can't manage that heat. Amazing an answer was given by one of those professors. The mother fired him after that. He says, no, at that time when they went to the moon, they had very expensive material. Very expensive. That material is sitting there at the moment. He forgot it's there in the museum. He said, this is the one that went. He said, very expensive. He said it was so expensive that until today they haven't the money to invest again in that one. That's why the ones we have today melt. But on that time it was so strong, it went through all those layers. That moon they never reached. They can reach it. Not reaching it is nothing impossible, because these are all what we call layers before the first sky. What we call heavens. There are going to be about 7 layers. In these layers you will get your Mars and your whatever they want to call it, and your sun and your moon, everything. And then will come a layer called the first heaven. Layer comes the first heaven. Forget the first heavens. We are asking about the first sky. Meaning they're little, where we get your Mars, and you get your Saturn, and you get your moon. Allah Ta'ala said, how Allah lifted it. That you're looking from here and you say, I'm almost there. And as you carry on going higher, you say, we're almost getting there. That's why years ago they thought they'll get to the moon in the next 20 years. So it was very easy. Russia wanted to reach the moon. They wanted to reach the moon. Both of them were racing. So what's the best way? They say, in 20 years time I'm sure we'll get there. Because it looks so close. So immediately they said, we reached the moon. After that, I don't know, they said they reached the moon. And then there was another country, whether it was Russia or China, whoever. They also said they reached the moon. And amazing now, when they reached the moon, whichever one it was, Russia or China, so they said, where you planted your flag, we saw your flag. So it was nice. And they said, yes, you saw it there, right? Think of this earth. Think of our small earth. Think of Lichtenberg, how small it is. Imagine I came here and I planted one flag. And then one person said, I'm going South Africa. Like a lot of times if I go England, when I come back, he says, you met my cousin. He lives in England. I'm supposed to meet him. You think it's a small town. That one flag, wherever that man planted it, that next one landed, he said, hey, I saw your flag. He managed to reach the same spot. Such a huge moon. The other one said, yes, you saw my flag. He knew he's lying. 2 liars just shook their heads. 2 liars shook their heads. Upside down they went. Allah said, how nice we made it high. That you thought you're going to reach it. It's still going further. وَأَغْطَشَ لَيْلَهَا وَأَخْرَجَ ضُحَاهَا. Allah says how He brought the night, how He took out the day. Everything was to say, you think you're the boss. If you're the boss, you'll be taking out the day. All you're doing is you're setting your alarm clock for the morning. You don't even know if you're going to live for the morning. So you're not the boss, I'm not the boss. Allah says, I'm bringing the night. I'm taking out the day. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. And then how He laid out the earth for you. How comfortable He made it. You might say, my car, you know how it moves over these potholes. That's all you can say. But if there was no, forget potholes, if Allah wanted to, and He wanted to make an earth like this, and you were told, now move. If Allah wanted that there was no mountains holding it in place, then forget you moving in your car. You'll put up a building today, tomorrow that same building will collapse on us. Allah says it was Allah who laid it out. Again, are you the boss? Am I the boss? A boss is the one who's in charge. I'm not even in charge of the roof. At night, if a slight thunder goes, then why does that kalima come? Because I'm not the boss. Allah says, who's doing it? أَخْرَجَ مِنْهَا مَاءَهَا وَمَرْعَاهَا. Then from the earth He took out the waters. From the earth He took out the waters. Just recently we enjoyed clean water in our country for years. We just opened the tap, we would drink. We would go to other countries. We would see they got enough water but no one could drink. We never made enough shukr to Allah. We saw that verse where I thank you Allah, you brought sweet water to me. Despite the fact that my sons demanded it to be salty, to be sour, to be like not easy, not palatable. But when the time came where they said, hey, you can't trust the tap water anymore. Now man understands how hard it is. Every time you want to drink, you have to think, hey. Allah says, how He took out that water. Again, I'm not the boss, you're not the boss. وَمَرْعَاهَا, how He took out the grass for the animals. When the droughts come, and then there's no greenery, then you'll see the price of the animals, Qurbani time is coming. Every year they got same story. They say this year because of the droughts, price very high. There's never a year except Qurbani time there's droughts. Every year we hear the same story. It's like petrol. They're fighting with the petrol government, they drop the price. We're fighting with the Muslim farmers, drop the price. And every year it goes higher. That grass, Allah says, you the boss. Are we the boss? We took it out for you. وَالْجِبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا. Look at this verse. مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ. Everything to benefit you and your animals. Everything to benefit. This is that father talking to his son. And he starts mentioning everything he did in his life. Everything. And then the father says, all this, who did it? You did it. He said, I did everything for you. Now I'm only asking you for one thing. Accept me as your father. Allah Ta'ala said, I did this to you. You took it and you thought you Fir'aun. May Allah Ta'ala protect us all with the brilliant things Allah gave us. Let us find Allah. Because if we don't find, فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى, because the day when that mighty shake will come. Tamma, that which just breaks everything. يَوْمَ يَتَذَكَّرُ الْإِنسَانُ مَا سَعَى. On that day, every man will remember what he had done. And we're speaking of qiyamah, and we're speaking of punishment. And someone wants to ask, what's the different punishments? Normally in this world, when they catch someone, you have something called physical torture. And you have something called mental torture. And sometimes they feel mental torture is even more painful than physical torture. And for whatever they do, and they put that man in certain conditions, when he comes out, he's like killing himself. He got no pain on his body, he got pain within the body. If you want to ever think about the meaning of mental torture, this verse is more than sufficient. On that day when everyone will remember everything. On the day when everyone will remember whatever he had done. Ulama have written on this verse, forgetting is a gift Allah gave in this world. If we don't forget pain, it's something, if it lodges itself in the mind, it can finish you up. But Allah Ta'ala makes the body forget. I lost my grandfather. How close I was to him. But within a few days I forgot. I lost my mother. How many years? 20 years passed already. He actually forgot those good days. Forgetting is a gift. Just the other day my tooth was paining. You can remember the pain. I can't remember. I forgot. Forgetting is a gift. And if Allah has to make the person remember, on that day, before the hisab starts, that individual will be standing on the plains of Qiyamah waiting. As he's waiting, whatever he did will be in front of him as he did it yesterday. And each one will be telling him, how are you going to answer for this? How are you going to answer for this? How are you going to answer for this? Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there will be individuals, so much of perspiration will be coming from their bodies in fear. that the perspiration of some will reach. This is no comedy. This is no novel. This is no lie. This is a day which no mind can understand. He said, perspiration will reach up to his shin, some till the knee, some till the waist, some till the neck, some till the nose. And he said, and by Allah, there will be some people who will be drowning in their perspiration. All of that because as I'm thinking of what I did, mental torture. On that day, there will be others relaxing under the arsh of Allah. And they will be saying, remember those difficult days in the world. Allah saved us that we managed those days and we came with Iman. Some will be in enjoyment and some will be drowning in perspiration. On the day when everyone will remember what he had done. That's one mental torture. وَبُرِّزَتِ الْجَحِيمُ لِمَنْ يَرَى. And then Jahannam will be brought. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, so many thousands of angels will be found dragging Jahannam. They will bring Jahannam. Jahannam is in its own place. They will be told, go and fetch Jahannam and bring it close so the people on the plains of Qiyamah can see Jahannam. They will bring Jahannam. Bringing Jahannam will be the second mental torture. That going to Jahannam might take place now after another thousands and thousands. Hisab has to take place. But oh man, that's your abode. وَبُرِّزَتِ الْجَحِيمُ. And when Jahannam will be brought, لِمَنْ يَرَى, for the one who is looking, فَأَمَّا مَنْ طَغَى. On that day, the one who was a transgressor, وَآثَرَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. He gave preference to this world. فَإِنَّ الْجَحِيمَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. It will be said to him, that's where you are going now. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. As for the one who always feared that I have to stand in front of Allah one day. Beautiful this Quran. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. The one who feared that one day I have to stand in front of Allah. وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. His inside wanted to do a lot of wrong. He wanted to swear. He wanted to say, give me my life. Give me my freedom. Let me do what I want. Not what I want, what my inside wants. A carnal desire. But he used to carry on telling his inside, you can't. It's hard to explain this. There was a time in the masajid, the word homosexuality would never be mentioned. Never be mentioned. Lesbian, if you had to mention it, the old uncle will look up and say, kick him out of the masjid. Like, what a filthy word. And then how the world changed. That the school said, you must teach them that it's okay. You must teach them that it's okay. And in what a manner they taught that child, that the teachers in madrasas today are having a problem. Because if the child says, I want to be homosexual, and the teacher says, you can't, the other children, they are not homosexual. But they are ready to say, but it's not right for you to shout him. But it's not right for you to shout him, meaning he got a right. And the time came that a man had to, from the mimbar, explain, laws can be made in the world, you can't speak about this except in a good way. So we will speak about it in a good way. A good way, the person says, I'm born like this. I got a natural feeling. I don't want to get married to a girl because I like a boy. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala gave the answer. That not you, your inside. Not you, your inside. وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ. And he had to tell his inside, you can't do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. A little patience today and enjoy tomorrow. Just like how the child said, Daddy, but I want that. And the father said, but you can't get it. And the boy said, but why? And the father said, in this world there are thousands of things which even I want. The boy will say, Daddy, like what? You say, very hard to tell you, but I wish I never married your mother, I married somebody else. A lot of things I want. A lot of things. But did I get everything? Just because I wish I had somebody else doesn't mean I say it's natural. Now tell my wife, you know what? I'm born like this, I don't like you. So now it's time for talaq, I only like her. That inside feeling you will have to continue telling yourself, my inside you like lot things, you can't get everything. You like a lot of things in this world, you can't get it. So even if that boy says, I'm born like this, I only like a certain, you will say whatever you like in this world, not you, your inside. You will have to ask Allah, did you allow that for me or not? Because I am like an animal grazing. Allah Tabarakala, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that just like how a king has his own pastures, and the pastures of the king are always more green than everybody else's because he takes the best. And then he says the shepherd brings his animals and he allows them to graze very close to what the king's land is. Because he brought them so close, those animals, now that animal is going to start looking at the green grass. And the animal is going to say, please, please. But the shepherd is now going to tell that animal, I'm scared if you're just going to go over. You must remember on the king's land is the king's soldiers also. Before you even make one bite, that arrow will come for you. You rather carry on looking for it, looking at it, but remaining patient. Or better, let me take you back away from these lands. But if you're going to carry on standing on this border, I feel it's going to be very hard for you. You can say in natural appetite, I like extra green. You say, just go put your mouth there. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, for every king there is his area which you can't go on. He said, Allah has his own areas. The places he made haram for you. What he explained is not to be on that borders. As long as we were not on those borders, the world never spoke of homosexuality. They never spoke about, I got feelings for the same. They were kept far away. In beautiful, clean lands. They heard the word homosexuality, Toba, Toba. It's like a cow far away said, you heard of the king's land? He said, what land are you talking about? This is my land. The shaitani world brought all towards what is called Ain Haram. Because of school, education, television, they brought everything right to the point. You say, hey, look what's on the other side. So naturally now when that boy and girl is going to start looking from the age of 4, 5, 6, they said, see on the internet, why don't you see this? Why don't you see that? And as that individual starts, then the natural law is man's inside is always desirous of what it can't have. Man's inside is always desirous of what it can't have. Man was to be told, that girl must be told, that boy, nothing natural. You're standing on the edge too long. You are looking at filth so long and now you say it's my natural feeling. You rather go back to the other side of the mountain. Stop looking at filth, you won't desire filth. But if you're going to remain on this border, then the shepherd will say, the day you decide to jump over, then you are messing with the king. I will not help you after. You are messing with the king. وَنَهَا النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. And for the one who told his inside, that just stop from now. I know you want a lot of things, I can't give it to you at the moment. فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. Allah says, then paradise is what we have kept for him. Allah Tabarakala give it to all of us. Few days of patience. Few days. And the angel will open the knot. And the bird will fly. The angels will grab. The angels will race. The angels will arrange. Then the trumpet will be blown. Where one will be perspiring, shivering, and the other one will be smiling and thrilled. When one will be remembering terrible things, the other one will be thinking of very good things. When one will remember what evil he had done, the other will be thinking how cold it was when I had to make that wudu. Some will have enjoyable thoughts, one will have terrible thoughts. One will be told, there's Jahannam for you, that's yours. And the other one will be told, there's Jahannam, Mubarak to you, you're not going to Jahannam. What a world. And then it will be said, there is your Jannah. فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. The end of the surah. The beginning of the surah, we said the world, they only worried about where we came from. And they went in the wrong direction. The surah was saying, forget that day, where are you going? End of the surah, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ أَيَّانَ مُرْسَاهَا. They are asking you, when is Qiyamah? When is Qiyamah? How the surah came ended. That's how man is. You got Lord questions to ask, when? Answer is, don't worry about when, worry about how. Because when yours is going to come, it's going to come on its time. How is it going to come? فِيمَ أَنْتَ مِنْ ذِكْرَاهَا. Allah Ta'ala says to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that what relationship you got with that question. That you have not come to tell the people when it's going to happen. You have come to tell them how it's going to happen. إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ مُنْتَهَاهَا. That knowledge is by Almighty Allah. إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنْذِرُ مَنْ يَخْشَاهَا. You have only been sent as a warner for the one who fears that day. That he's not going to ask that when. You have told him already how. How death will come. The man says, when I'm going to die. A lot of people, when they have dreams, and sometimes in their dream they really think, I'm going to die. Because of the dream, they saw that grandfather, he was there. So immediately they say so the first thing they want to know is what it means. Imam Malik rahimullah, most likely it was, he was in the land of Medina Munawwara. He developed such a love for Medina Munawwara that he only wanted to pass away. Now that fear came in him, if I just have to go out of Medina Munawwara, even if it means to Makkah Mukarramah, what if I pass away there? I don't want to leave Medina Munawwara. So he had a dream in which he asked when I will die. So in the dream he was shown 5. That's it. Now when he woke up, he wants to know 5 days, or 5 months, or 5 years. He still got no answer. The interpretation came that there are 5 things which is in the knowledge of Allah. Death is one of them also. Not 5 days. But even if it was 5 days, months, years, you still don't know. Still don't know. So when the man sees a dream, grandfather is waiting. He wants to know when I'm going to die. That question must never be asked. It's how are we going to die? How are we going to die? كَأَنَّهُمْ يَوْمَ يَرَوْنَهَا. Allah Ta'ala says, don't worry of the time. Because the day you will see Qiyamah, it will be as though لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا إِلَّا عَشِيَّةً أَوْ ضُحَاهَا. Man had not spent in this world except half a day. So don't have to worry about when. When? It's going to be very short. You will say, I never even saw Earth. You say, don't worry about when. Again, the end of the surah, how. May Allah Ta'ala bless us all. We are the bird that just waiting for the knot to open. We want to fly to Allah Ta'ala. We want the angels to welcome us. We want to stand on that day where we are smiling. We want to be shown Jannah and say, this is yours. But for that day, a little bit of patience in this world. And Allah Ta'ala has kept a lot for us in the year after. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.